Hi everybody. My desk is a disaster, I know. So we are going to talk about embellishments today. I got asked to talk more about the magazine, painted magazine circles I did in my Small Delusions journal recently. Here. And we are going to talk about that and a couple of other ways of doing embellishments. This is my new page. It's not done yet. Well, I'll do something about that later. But anyway, so I have a documented life. Wait, I think it's a documented life prompt. Let's see. Yeah, documented life prompt to add a cardboard food container to a page. So that got me thinking about repurposing containers, which has to do with what you see here, and turning them into embellishments. Now, when you're looking for containers to do this with, this is, it's cardboard, but it's like the thin chipboard. This is a Kleenex box. And these are, I have a Keurig machine, a K-Cup machine, coffee machine, and these are the boxes the little coffee things come in. So what I do is I look for the colors, not necessarily a pattern, although with these Puffs brand tissue boxes and even some of the Kleenex brand, you know, the patterns are really pretty. But mostly I'm just looking for the colors. Here's another coffee box. I like the colors. Here's some more pieces of a different Kleenex box. So we are going to turn some of these into embellishments. So the first thing you have to do is deconstruct your box, which of course is always easier when you have two hands. Let me turn on another light. When you're one-handed, this is a lot harder. So find the seams in your cardboard. There's another one here. And just pop it open. I can hold some things with the left hand, I just can't put any pressure on that hand. And absolutely no lifting for like 6 months, evidently. Got my stitches out yesterday, so it's all good. Alright, so the next thing I'm going to do, because this is too big a piece to do what I'm going to do with it, so I have to cut it apart into sections. So I just use the folds. And I know you're thinking, she's going to just use this part. And I am. But I like this part too. I like the colors of it. So I'll show you. Let's do this one. Now on this one, I'm going to cut this free from this other piece, because this other piece is trash. This part is trash. Okay, so now we're going to do the same thing to our coffee box. Maybe. Coffee boxes are harder to get apart. There we go. So, you know, when I do this, I don't, you know, go into my pantry and put the food in a bag because I want the box. I guess you could do that, but these are just things I happen to have that were empty. They were going to head to the trash, so if I'm able to catch my family members before they actually put them in the trash, I take them and I save them, and they don't really say too much anymore. They just shake their heads, so. If we're out in public, my daughter will, you know, and husband will say, no, just no. That's something my daughter likes to say. Just no, Mom. No. Small butt. No, Mom. Okay. So then I have my big kick out here, and I did discover yesterday I can use it one-handed. Yay! Okay, and I have this Spellbinder's Nestabilities die, which has 7 different sizes of circles in it. And I started out cutting circles. I like circles for embellishments. And of course, you can cut them out by hand. If you don't have a die cut, you could do this by hand and just cut a bunch of circles or different shapes. I happen to have the big kick, so I'm going to use it and these dies, and I'm only one-handed. It is not impossible for me to cut stuff, as you saw, but it's difficult, so it's easier with the big shot. So I pulled out the 3 smaller sizes of circle from the die. To make room over here. Okay. And when you're using these thin dies, you need to have your multi-purpose platform with all of the tabs down, and then the plain clear plastic at the bottom, the nice one without the cut marks. Let's cut this one because I've been dying for this tissue box to be empty so that I could cut it. And then this is the grungy one with all the cut marks in it that goes up against the dies, the die blades. Hear it cutting. That cracking sound is cutting. Okay. Then you have these really great little embellishments that you can use on your page, right? I like the way that turned out. Okay, so the other thing that you could do, I had this idea. Well, and before we go on to the next one, when you're done with these, I mean, look at that. Isn't that a perfect, like, stencil? You can use these as a stencil. And I have now a whole bunch of them, so I'm probably going to share. So those of you who are owed some Happy Mail, you know, look for something like this in your Happy Mail. You'll probably get one. So then I had this idea. Originally I was going to put circles on my page, and I love to use the circle shape in more of a grungy style like this in this my little small smash book, the one that's just a year in my life. This is more documented lifestyle. But I didn't think I wanted to use it on the page that was for the documented life prompt, which is in my large art journal. I know, don't ask. I had the idea to actually maybe do flowers, and I have this Tim Holtz Biggs die, and this is his Tattered Flowers. I don't even know if I've ever used it. It might still be closed. Let's see if I can get it open. Yeah, it is still sealed, so I've never used it. And I don't need to cut tons of flowers. I just need enough for that page. I don't know that I want to do tons. But it has these really nice flower shapes. Okay, now for these, it's been a while since I did a regular die, but I think, if I remember correctly, and let's see, you know, I had the idea to cut it out of these garbage pieces. So this is just the center part of the tissue box that you pull off, or the bottom label. I like the colors. I think it would be really pretty. I just want to make sure I get a whole flower. And of course, again, you could cut these out by hand. There's no reason why you can't. Ooh, it worked! Look at that. I even got a partial flower. I may use that. Cute. Okay, let's do this one. So I'm going to lay this cardboard on here and packaging on here, and I'm going to push it through the other way. Oops. Oop. That's the kind of thing that happens because I'm doing it one-handed. Okay. I love it. So that's a way to get some interesting handmade embellishments, recycling and repurposing what you have around the house. And here, again, on this one, I would probably save that because that's a cute stencil. And of course, you could do this out of handmade papers or, you know, hand-painted papers. You could take some of this packaging material and, you know, paint it and mark it up first and then cut it out, or I could paint it now. But just think of what you have around the house rather than going out and going shopping. I tend to, when I do buy things, most of the time, if I'm buying things, ordering things, lately it's ordering, it's getting the tools like the dies and not the paper. Okay, so I'm going to get some stuff to talk about the other kinds of embellishments I've been working on lately, not doodles, and I will be right back. But before I do that, this is my jar of circle embellishments. These are not doodles. These are from cardstock, collage cardstock, or packaging material, this whole jar. So when I do cut a bunch of shapes like this, I save them in jars. I separate them so that when I want to just add circles to a page, if I want a doodly circle, I have a jar of doodle circles, and if I just want a plain circle, this is what this jar is. And this is from coffee. Here's some more coffee. So then once I get them cut, I stick them in this jar and save them in this jar. Okay, I'm going to get the stuff out for the magazine page doodles, and I will be right back. Okay, so I love to do collage. My two favorite ways of working in my art journal are painting and collage. And one of my favorite magazines for images is this W magazine. Now, when I first started subscribing to W, I would just go through the magazine and I would pull out the images that interested me, that I thought would be interesting at some point in a collage, and throw the rest away. I did that to the first couple magazines, and then it dawned on me, holy cow, what a waste of money. When I paint, usually always have drop paper nearby or book text. I have a piece of book text around here somewhere. I don't know. My desk is very discombobulated. But they were mostly just to wipe my brushes off on. I didn't use them actually as a palette. I used a little plastic tray. And then I thought I should use other papers and then also wipe my brush on it. It will give me extra marks, make the paint go a little longer. I've got to put the paint somewhere, and instead of washing any little tiny bit of it down the drain from my palette, it would be saved on the paper that I could then use later as collage material. So what I do when I'm done pulling, and this is my new one I just got in, so I haven't done anything with it yet, but after I go through the magazine, I pull out all of the images I like, I take the rest of it and I cut the binding off. And then all those loose pages, and I have a bunch of them under my desk, they're just the loose pages. And I take them, and I always have 2 or 3 of them out next to me on my work table. And that's what I actually use for palette. I use to wipe my stencils off on. Right now, because I'm one-handed, I'm painting with paint daubers a lot and craft paints. Mostly that's because I only have one hand, so think about it. How am I going to get the paint off my hand? It's really difficult. So I love my artist paints, but they will probably not get played with right now because some of them have harmful chemicals in them and need to be really thoroughly washed off your skin, and I can't do that right now. I love my craft paints, so I have them. So I just paint them onto the page and wipe the stencils off on the page, test markers on the page, and at some point I start to get pages that look like this. Now these are finished, and these, I love the way this look. I love the texts. I love the painty marks that happened on the page, all by accident. And so what I would do is I would then save this page in my stack of collage materials, and at some point I would start to do this with it. And I would start to draw circles on it, and then when I need a collage element for a page, I'll start cutting those circles out and using those in the background. I do also use these in-between bits. Sometimes I need a really small circle and these are big, so then I'll cut it out of these little bits, which is what happened here for the Small Delusions journal. You can also just leave it like this and cut strips and use it as a border. You could definitely doodle on top of it like I did with my other doodle pages. And doodle borders and shapes on this, and then cut them out and use them in your page. Here's another one. This was a fun one, and I can't wait to use this in a page. And these thin painty marks are not marker. They are the fine lines applicators. There's a lot of different kinds of these applicators. I like these because they're a needle applicator. You can hear I put some BBs in the bottom, and that helps me when I need to shake it up and get everything mixed quickly, and then use quickly. And because this is golden fluid acrylic and airbrush medium, and of all my experiments, airbrush medium takes the longest to dry. So when you do this, you really need to set this page aside somewhere flat and just let it dry. It's going to take a while to dry. When it dries, I love the way it looks. And that's what this black and white marks are on here too. So those are some more ideas for homemade embellishments. And when you use them in a page, if you use them, in a page like this one, this is kind of a grungy style page, which I love. These are some of the circles. This little arrow border was done out of a scrap from cutting these circles. So I had a little teeny tiny little, piece in between left, like a little piece like this. So instead of throwing it away, I took out my Scarlet Line Permaball and I doodled these little arrow shapes on it, collaged it down, and then after it was dry, I put on the white dots with a my Uniball Signo. And this is one of my my book text borders. And then after it was all dry, each element, then I went around it with a Stabilo pencil. This is a Stabilo black number 8046 aquarellable pencil. I have black, I have blue. The blue is number 8041. And I just yesterday got brown, and the brown is number 8045. So you just literally just draw around your shapes with the pencil, and it's water soluble. So then you take a brush with some water on it, and then you get these dirty gray, smeary, grungy marks that just make the page pop. I love the way they make the page look. So that's kind of the stage this is at. This is missing all of its journaling. I did this page yesterday. It took a long time to dry because I sealed this little cross in to some glossy accents. So it took a long time to dry, but now it's all dry. I can do my journaling on here. But I hope that gives you some ideas of homemade embellishments to make. And they really will make your pages sing and really be uniquely yours. And I want to see any new ideas you come up with. So, send me an email or a private message. My address is in the description below, and I will see you all guys all later. Don't forget to go out today and do something nice for yourself. You deserve it. Bye.